proud chair of Brooklyn Community Board
This
9.
meeting is being recorded.
I want to thank everyone for coming this evening. We have a very full agenda, so we're going to be getting right into it. But just, so in terms of housekeeping, rules of order, we are going to waive the reading of the rules of order. They are available on the CV9 website. Very, very basically, we just want to make sure that all speakers are treated with respect, that all viewpoints are respected, even in dissent. We ask that please make sure that you are mindful of your microphones as well. If you are not speaking, please keep your microphone on mute so that way we're not causing distraction to the rest of the attendees or the speaker who's speaking at the time. If you are joining us by phone this evening, if you at the appropriate times, if you need to raise your hand to be recognized, please use the *9 function. *9 will raise your hand and it will also toggle and lower your hand as well. So once if you have to speak, please use *9 to raise your hand. Once you've spoken, it's helpful if you use *9 to lower your hand as well, so that way we can make sure we can continue on the list. Also, as I mentioned before, please make sure your microphones are on mute. If you're on phone, *6 serves the same function as the toggle. *6 will mute you and *6 will unmute you. If you are on phone, if you are being recognized, if you are an attendee and you're being promoted, you will hear prompts, so please make sure you're listening for those. At the appropriate time, use *6 to unmute once you've been added, promoted to the panelists. Okay, so at this time, we are going to go on into item 2, and I just would like to note for the board that item 2 is actually an addition. This is something that was voted on at the Transportation Committee. We omitted to add it on the agenda at the Executive Committee meeting. They will be presenting this time, and when we get to the business session, we're going to formally add them to the agenda for consideration for this evening. So at this time, do we have a representative from Union Limo and Car Service?
Yes, good evening. My name is Shalva Vital, and I'm the owner of the car service.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for coming to our meeting. Please tell us a little bit about your business, how long you've been in the community, and state the purpose, the reason why you're here this evening.
Yes, we are in the business from 1991. We serve the community already 32 years. And every 3 years, we needed the board to approve us again for renewing our license with the TLC and to continue our job.
A man of few words, we love it. Again, thank you for coming out this evening. So this proposal was considered by the Transportation Committee and it was voted unanimously to approve their application. We're going to be looking to have them be voted on this evening. At this time, we will take a couple of questions for the applicant.
Hi.
Please use the raise hand function and we can take the questions. Okay, I see none at this time. Okay, all right. So, sir, we will make sure, so we'll be speaking again, or you can definitely hold on and we'll be considering your application in the business session.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. At this time, we're going to move on to item 3. We have applications to the New York State Liquor Authority. At this time, I would ask, is the chair of the Public Safety Committee here?
I am here.
All right, sir. Would you please take the floor and introduce the applicants?
Yeah, absolutely. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just trying to pull up a second screen so I can actually pull up the applications as well. But we do have two applicants here. One is from what's it called? Smorgasburg. And Smorgasburg, as you know, is it's a seasonal application that gets applied for. And what happens is that, yep, hello? Oh, Nicholas Almanor. Hey, you're not on mute. There we go. Okay. Great. So Smorgasburg comes down to the south end of Prospect Park, and what they do is they offer many food vendors from New York City, from Brooklyn, from the local community, the opportunity to sell their food. What they do is, rather than applying for a smattering of lots of different liquor licenses, they apply for one singular liquor license. It is only a beer and wine license. What they do is they come into the community, and the license is from, I believe, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it's relatively early hours. And it's only for certain months of the year when it is warm outside and when they will be hosting their thing on Sundays in Brooklyn on the weekends. And so if there is a representative here from Smorgasburg, we would love to hear a little bit more about your application, what you offered to the community in your own words.
Sure. Hi, thank you. I'm Jonathan Butler. Some of you have probably seen me before at these things. We've been operating markets in Brooklyn since, I guess, 2008 in Fort Greene and 2011 in Williamsburg. In 2016, we started in Prospect Park on Sundays. And yeah, we operate from 11 to 6. We've got about 60 to 70 food vendors at any given time. And yeah, the liquor license is it ends at 6, and it's, yeah, we've never, literally in a decade of running these markets that quite a lot of people come to, 10,000 people a day or something. We've never had a single, public safety issue around it. It's not like a big drinking thing. It's like have a beer with your taco kind of situation. So I encourage any of you who haven't come before to come check it out. It's every Sunday and it starts in April, it runs through October.
Excellent. Thank you. Fred, if it's okay, can we open it up to a few questions from members of the community, or do you want to hold that for later?
Absolutely. We can take this opportunity. We will take a speakers list. Please use the raise hand function, and the chair of public safety will call on you.
Okay, I see Suki here. Suki, please go ahead.
So it's really good news to us that so many people are coming into the community for something that is productive, that you're bringing all these people in. And I was wondering if you would consider, I know you're in Prospect Park for the summer, but for the winter months, if you had considered opening an indoor location nearby Prospect Park. I know I've been to Brooklyn Flea in
Yeah.
Williamsburg in the indoor locations.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't.
You
we
have
haven't-
these huge spaces near the park that are empty, these commercial spaces.
Well, it's an interesting idea. We haven't done. We did used to do a market every winter pre-pandemic. That was sort of a combination because we also run the Brooklyn Flea, our flea market, and so every winter we'd kind of combine and do something that was sort of like half flea market, half food. The trouble with it is it's actually quite even with a friendly lease terms, it's still quite difficult for it to work financially. It can, but it is and we're all ears. We would consider doing something, but it's just that by the time it's very hard to do something indoors. A lot of times we get offered like a raw space, for example, by a developer who isn't going to be using it for a few months, and that's great. But then it turns out you'd be shocked at how quickly you can spend like $60,000 or $70,000 just making sure that actually the electricity is suitable and that the buildings department will sign off on the public assembly stuff. All that stuff can be quite challenging. But yeah, we always used to do it. So I would certainly encourage people who have, control over and know about larger spaces to get in touch with us. Because at really end of the day, it's really all about what the real estate deal and situation is.
That's helpful to know, Jonathan. Maybe, Fred, there's a committee that this would fall best under in terms of seeing if there's something available in the community. I'm not aware of which community which committee that might be, but we're all ears.
But yeah,
And
no,
we
it's
more.
interesting.
Yeah, and thank you for raising that, Suki. And I think, to the larger point here, we see this as a massive net positive for our community and encourages local businesses. It also brings more people into our community in a way that is super respectful and gets them in here on the weekends at relatively early hours in the day. There have, for the record, been no public disturbance complaints from NYPD regarding Smorgasburg.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any more questions for the applicant? Please use the raise hand function. We can, the committee chair can recognize you. Okay, I see none. So Mr. Chair, you can go ahead to the next app.
All right, thanks very much, Jonathan. Moving on to our second application. That is for a restaurant, which is licensed under Irie Vibes Cafe, which also goes under the name Pasa Pasa Juice Bar. It is located at 404 Rogers Avenue. It is a new application, not a renewal. However, this is a business that has existed for some time and is expanding its operations into including alcohol. We have Representative Michael Campbell here, who is speaking on behalf of the applicant. And Michael, I'm not sure whether the owner of the cafe is also here with us today.
She is.
Excellent.
She's right there.
Okay, great. I can't find her on the screen. There's a lot of. Oh, I see. It's under Pasa Pasa Juice Bar.
Yes.
I see you waving to us. We'd love to give you the opportunity to speak a little bit about your impact in the community. I think my understanding from our last conversation is that the owner has been involved in the community for many years under many different businesses. And just to say a few things about the application, just kind of technical details, is that we have hours from 9 a.m. I believe to 12 a.m. Did you submit a revision?
I submitted I changed. So we're going to go from 9 to 8:30, and outdoors is from 9 to 6 or something like that.
Okay, great. And just so you know, the outdoor space that Michael is referring to is also just a relatively small, just kind of 2 tables on the sidewalk. It's not one of those situations where they've set up a booth in the street like so many businesses. And there is no live music. It's kind of just jukebox situation, kind of electronic, not electronic music, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Michael, can you remind me, is this a full liquor license or a partial?
We're doing wine and beer.
Wine and beer, great. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you and to the owner to say a little bit more. Michael, you can take it. Or Pasa Pasa, you are currently on mute. There we go. All right, you're off.
You want to go, Shelly?
Sure. Hi, I'm Shelly Carvalho, and I'm living in the neighborhood 43 years now. And I had another business on Flatbush Avenue. It was called Veggie Hut. I was there for approximately 8 years. And my father also had a business, Island Boy Juice Company, in the neighborhood. So we have been in the neighborhood for a while doing business. And right now I have Pasa Pasa, and Pasa Pasa offers food, healthier food. And I give a lot of information to the public. People come in and they'll ask me about sickness. So I give them information, but I like to include the wine and beer, and have the sidewalk cafe also.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shelly. Michael, was there anything that you wanted to add, or I think we've covered all the bases basically?
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. There's not much more to add.
Great. I will say that, it's the recommendation of our committee to approve both licenses. But we will pause at this point, Fred, if you're okay with it, just to see if there's any questions on the floor. You can use the raised hand function, and I am happy to call on you if you have a question.
You took my part.
I learned. Warren, you've come off mute. You haven't raised your hand, but I know you to the point now where that is an expression of intent.
I apologize. I couldn't, there's a new menu and I couldn't find the raised hand. I pass this restaurant most days. And I think the most important part, when it was being built, I was just so totally impressed on the care that the owners have done in establishing this restaurant. And in my mind, it's just a great addition to the neighborhood. As important, they interact, I believe, with our fresh market, who delivers fresh fruits and vegetables to them after the market closes. So in my mind, this is a win-win. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren.
Thank you.
I see Milford Pruitt has his hand raised. Milford, we're happy to come around to you, please. You're currently on mute, so just unmute yourself and.
There's no no raised hand symbol on the reactions tonight. Anyway, Mike, how you doing? Mike Campbell. how you doing?
Milford, what's going on, buddy? Good to see
All
you,
right.
man.
I know Mike Campbell from way back. He's one of the hardest working entrepreneurs in the city of New York, and
Thank you for saying that.
and he said you can knock me down, but you can't knock me out. So I'm glad to see you here, and
Thanks,
he's a
Milford.
real asset to the community.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I'm curious. What was the concept again?
It's right now, Michelle does, it's a juice bar, healthy food, healthy fruits, healthy juices. She's a tutor. She's a health aide. She's fixing folks. They walk in with issues, she'll give them a remedy, and she has a whole list of teas and stuff to help you feel better. And she's just trying to expand, get this liquor license so she can extend to the night a little bit.
Okay, and naturally you're handicap compliant?
Yes. We're fully compliant.
Okay, all right. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I'll be stop by. Maybe she got something.
We're down the block, Milford. You're on Sterling.
Okay.
We're down the block.
All right. Right on. Nice seeing you again.
Thanks, Milford. Good to see you, buddy.
All right, right on. If anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Not, I can pass it back to Fred at this point, and I'll just say from a technical, Fred, you can say kind of what happens next, but we'll be voting on this later.
Do we need to be here while you guys vote?
Not need to be here. It would be helpful if maybe one of you could stick around just in case any
Absolutely.
questions come up in the voting session.
No
I
worries.
also see that there's a hand raised from Debbie Timothy.
All right, we'll see Debbie's, and that'll be the final question.
Hi, I just wanted to say I miss my salmon patties.
We'll fix it up. We'll get it back. We'll get it back.
I might have to come through for salmon patty too. All right, thanks for the tip, Debbie. Okay, Fred, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So during the business session, we'll be considering all the applications that have been presented this evening. Okay, so we are now going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is public commentary. Public commentary is 30 minutes. Members of the public are allowed up to 3 minutes to speak and address the board. And again, so the entire session will be 30 minutes. We'll try and get to as many speakers as possible, but at the end of the 30 minutes, we must conclude and we'll have to move on. At this time, Mr. District Manager, are there any members of the public who have signed up for public commentary this evening?
Yes, Julie Harden signed up
Okay.
for public comment. Let's see. Give me 1 second.
Sure. And while the district manager is doing that, if there are any members of the public who wish to speak, please use the raise hand function, and we will add you to the speakers list after the people who have called it ahead.
Question.
Wilkins, ODTTE, Wilkins.
Okay.
Theodora Scarrato.
Okay.
Dr. Grace Hackett had called in advance or emailed in advance.
Who was the other person?
Dr. Grace Hackett.
Grace Hackett? Okay.
Yes, Dr. Grace Hackett.
Okay.
Thanks.
And after that?
All right, no one else had signed up prior. And then Debbie Timothy's hand is raised.
I see member Timothy.
And then Suki, Debbie took her hand down. Suki's hand is raised though.
Okay. I think I see one in the attendees.
Yes, that's Dr. Hackett.
Oh, that's Dr. Hackett. Okay, thank you.
And then
Okay.
Sol's hand is raised as well.
Okay. And then we'll see Soul. Okay, all right, we're gonna begin the public commentary period at this time. Okay, so first speaker will be Julie Harden.
I don't see Julie Harden. Julie, if you're here, could you raise your hand? Okay, so when Julie called, she had some people that were substitutes for her if she wasn't able to attend, which would be the next two.
Well, let's continue down the list. So
next two on your list.
Okay, so is Odette Wilkins there?
Let's see. I don't see that person.
Okay, we'll come back. Is Theodore Scorado there?
There's another hand up in the attendees list as well.
I know we're gonna get to it. Thank you.
Is Theodore Scorado there?
No.
Okay.
And
Next,
yes, and as he said, Alicia Boyd has her hand raised as well.
I've added it to the list. All right, so Dr. Grace Hackett then.
Okay, and then Jay Sorid raised his hand as well.
We'll add him after Ms. Boyd.
Okay. Dr. Hackett should be on.
Right. I was asking if you could hear me because it was nothing to show me that it was mute or unmute. Anyhow, thank you very much, Mr. Batiste and the folks from your team for allowing me to speak. I promise to be brief. I was here before. Now, I've been going through this situation for 1 year. It was February 3rd, 2021, when I noticed that my wall was cracked. And it was cracked because the attached house, the person who bought the building, Betzel and Gopin, gutted the house and then banged, drilled, and hammered. And I don't know why that was done to the party wall, but it came as a crack. Since then, although I appealed to the Department of Buildings and all of those offices, the assemblyman, the council, Darlene Mealy, and so on, they were still able to sneak, I call it sneaking back into the building and do further damage. So I did not know who to send the pictures to. So I have sent them to Mr. Almonar, and you can see how the crack has evolved into something really atrociously big, to the point whereby I really don't like to go into the room. Anyhow, I talked about how they always come back in, and then I have to be calling Department of Buildings. I've made at least 100, 200 calls to Department of Buildings to no avail. Really, you know, they're still able to work. Right now, there is a full stop order on the door on the street, but on the website, the Department of Buildings, they have partial. I guess I've been lucky that they have not tried to come back in because one, I had the TV news station here, and then two, they've been busy gutting a house across the street. So I just want to know from you, how can you help me? Because you are a community board. I am in the community. I have lived here in this house, owning it for 30 years. I have never had this problem. I have never felt that a total disregard for the humanity of people. So I really want to know, how can you assist me? Because on Thursday, a representative from DOB came and gave myself and my son a violation. That's the fourth violation that I have received. And I have not broken my wall or anybody else's wall. This is the fourth one. And the violation says that there's a failure to maintain the 2-story attached residential masonry walls and wood joists. it was damaged, and they're telling me that I have to repair it under permit, and I must start the work by 4/1/2023. I want to know, how am I going to repair it? I did not break my wall. So can you please tell me how you can help me? You are a community board. Please let me know how you can help me.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon, Dr. Hackett. This is Dante, the district manager. I emailed you today at 4:20. The email has all of the information. I don't want to divulge all of your whole case in open meeting, but all the information that I received from the Department of Buildings is in that email. You received something that is not a monetary violation. The information that you received, you should be able to take that information to your insurance to file a claim. Now, what I could possibly do is get someone from the Department of Buildings on the line to call you so they can explain that, but it's not a monetary violation.
Nevertheless, it's a violation. It's a violation. And by the way, I did try to file a claim with Allstate. They asked me for the information for the attached building, and well, I had it, and I had the guy's number. When I called back, they said that they don't do that. They cannot help me in any way to repair.
Okay.
So that is what I was told. I did all that.
No, Dr. Hackett. I mean, I'm sad that you're coming back to us with the same issue. Dante, if you could reach out and please, so perhaps a phone call might be in order, just so we can get everything in a row, so you can explain everything through. And if you need to get DOB on there as well, might be helpful to help her get this resolved and quickly.
I really would appreciate that. It's a year. I don't sleep in my bedroom.
No.
And Mr. Artwan, I don't mind if you divulge. I mean, at this point, it is, I don't know if somebody's trying to get me to go. You can divulge whatever. I sleep in the living room on a couch so that I can hear what's going on.
No, understood.
It's really,
Craig, can you also share my contact information with her, please?
very, very upsetting. Very, very upsetting that in my retirement years, I will be going through this because someone wants to come and live here. I don't mind, I don't care. But then you have to gut the entire building, and in gutting and hammering and drilling, you're then going to destroy my house. You're building up yours, you're destroying mine. And then I am told that I have to repair it.
No. So Dr. Hackett, no, absolutely. But Dante is going to reach out, and our housing committee chair also is going to share her contact information. So we're going to see what we can do to come around you to help get this resolved for you as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred.
No, thank you very much for that. Okay. Okay, so I see member Debbie Timothy. Yeah, Debbie? Hold on, let me see.
You're muted, Debbie.
I apologize. I didn't have my hand up. Sorry, I took it down.
Oh, okay. Skipping right over. Okay, Sue-Ann Chong.
I can wait until the other members of the public have spoken, Fred. I'm happy to go afterward.
Thank you very much. Soul Query?
I know that I'm on for number 6B. I was just requesting, could I be moved up by any chance? That's all.
We can discuss that when we get to the business session. Yeah, we can probably make that accommodation. That's fine. Okay. Alicia Boyd.
Okay, give me a sec. Should be able.
Hello, my name is Alicia Boyd. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, last month I saw what I felt was some of the most abusive and violations of the law that I've ever experienced at CP9. One of the things I think this community board needs to understand is that your major role for the community is to ensure that anything that happens is fully discussed. Everyone knows about it. The community has input in what they think about it. That's why there's laws in the city which demand that anyone who wants to do certain things in our community must get an approval from a community board. Just like you have all the alcohol applicants come discuss the project, people can ask questions. The same thing happens for letters of recommendation. However, what I saw last month was not only a serious violation of that duty and responsibility of the community board to make sure that they understand all the approvals that are coming here, that they allow the community to understand them, that the community also has questions that they might pose. But I saw Fred single-handedly change a vote. If you look at your Robert Rules of Order, not only is Fred supposed to remain completely neutral, but he's not even allowed to vote unless there's a tie. He is not allowed to open back up after a vote has been cast, to open back up for discussion, only people who want to change their vote to a yes. That was so many violations and so many, the whole concept of voting just went right out the window because of that. Fred, the moment that you hear that Fred has a position on a motion, that he's failed in his duty and responsibility as a chair, because his duty and responsibility is to make sure that he is himself completely neutral, that he has no stake in the game. To stop after a vote has been cast and then reopen for a discussion, but only limit that discussion to people who want to change their vote to a yes, with so many violations you have no understanding. Now, I know a lot of you community board members are new, so I suggest very seriously that you read the Roberts Rules of Order, that you understand the laws, and that you understand what your job is. Your job is to make sure that the community is informed and protected. That things that when you are supposed to make a recommendation for something, that you understand it and that you allow the community to understand it. So that when you were saying yes or no, you were saying yes or no based upon facts.
Ms.
The
Boyd,
joining of those
I need you to
two
conclude your
pieces,
remarks. Your time
I
has expired.
understand that. Fred has been violating the law seriously. You not allowing committee members to be able to speak. You're allowing Fred to push forth bylaws with his name on it. Is completely irregular. And I assure you, and I do not, please do not take this as a threat, take this as a promise. If this continues, a lawsuit will be filed against CP9 because you cannot conduct business like this on behalf of the community, because you're disempowering us by allowing this type of process to happen and not allowing the community and the board members to know what they're doing and not to be influenced by a chair who's supposed to remain neutral at all times. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd. Okay, we have next on the list, Mr. Sorit, Jay Sorit.
Hello, can you hear me, Mr. Chair?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
Great. I wanted to comment first on the community walkthrough. There was a community walkthrough that was postponed for Vital Brooklyn, Kingsborough Psychiatric. I would like to know during the course of this meeting, what is the date of the postponement? Hopefully we could do it on 30 days notice. And number two, hopefully they could put out some signs outside so that this isn't all done on the down low. This is the same developer that's waited 1.5 years from telling the community what's going on. There's going to be over 1,090 units being built without any parking. A lot of issues that are with this, and it hasn't been basically brought up. The comment period ended for the environmental impact statement. The environmental impact statement says there's going to be a strong effect on the community in terms of parking. The housing committee curiously canceled their meeting an hour before this February of when the comments were due for Community Board 9. Community Board 17, the housing committee also canceled it. I'm concerned that East Flatbush is out of the loop. There's no one on the land use committee from East Flatbush in that region. When you go to whitepages.com, there's a lack of geographic diversity. I asked if I can contribute and volunteer. I was denied the opportunity to be on the land use committee. But then again, Alicia Boyd was also removed from the subcommittee because from land use, even though she was very qualified. Just as a personal note, if Alicia Boyd has done 3 lawsuits and she knows SECRA, when she's put on the subcommittee, I'm disappointed that Pat Moses didn't say, you deserve to be on the committee. So I have an issue also with a member of the community, Alicia Boyd, being taken off of the subcommittee when it was just a formality. You know, qualified people should be on the committee. The other points I want to mention, I object to this, not this Zoom room where it's a panelist. Everybody should be involved in it. It's very elitist. You know, it's Black History Month. This goes against this whole narrative of everybody being in the same thing. So having a panelist view is not necessary. And there needs to be public input at the bylaws. So anybody who votes on this bylaws amendments, there was no input, there was no questions that were allowed to be put. There was no committee. The reason there wasn't a committee is because there would have been questions that were asked, and the committee chair would have had to discuss it with the public. My comments were not allowed for the bylaws, even though I submitted it. So because there's no bylaws committee, unlike Manhattan 2, 6, and 8, you called it an information session to keep the community out of the loop. Having a general comment period where people could just comment to the board is not enough. Why wasn't this a commit? Why wasn't the bylaws committee called a committee? Why was it called an information center session? And why, when you went to corporate counsel, how come there's no record? Why was it just verbal over the phone? It's very questionable that there's no record of any legal opinion that says that everything is correct. What you said is you verbally spoke to somebody on the phone. It's very questionable that somebody who's
Please
part
conclude.
of the, okay, it's questionable that somebody who is a former director of New York City Records says, I have no record, and it's just verbal. There has to be a legal piece of paper that says that there's nothing wrong, and we don't have that. So I ask for more public input and for people to abstain and not to vote for the bylaws because it didn't go to a committee and there's no public input.
Thank you, Mr. Sword. Let me see, Suki, we have you next. Kyrie, I do see we'll take you after Suki.
So I see that we have on our agenda later this evening a number of items like City Bike and the bus lane. I know we've recently discussed things like the 5G towers, open restaurants, the restaurant street sheds. So I guess all of these sort of things, you can view them in a few different ways. Maybe you see them as transportation issues or small business issues. Maybe you can view them from an equity standpoint, like some people are saying, or from the standpoint of revenue to the city or whatever. But I just wanted to share my perspective from a land use perspective. I think all of these issues are about how we use limited space, curb space, street space, sidewalk space. They're limited. And just, you know, one very simple thing that I like to keep in mind is something that my middle school principal told us every day, twice a day, for 4 years, which is there's the time and a place for everything. The land use term for this is best and highest use. It doesn't necessarily mean most profitable. It means most suitable given the type of activity and the particular characteristics of the land. So that's just something, you know, like kind of a common thread that I'm seeing. And, you know, just wanted to suggest that we keep this kind of thing in mind as we look at all of these issues. So for example, you know, I've seen people saying things like, well, why can't I store a box in the curb in the street? You know, well, maybe that's because anything that's not nailed down in New York City would get stolen, right? But, you know, with a car, it's a lot easier to steal it, right? It can that thing be moved? Because if it cannot be moved, then you're reserving it permanently for yourself. Is there a higher price to be paid for that? If a restaurant is able to expand its space into curb space, into street space, can we use the empty commercial space next around the corner or next door to park a car? Or can we park cars on extra wide sidewalks? That's something that CB9 has called out outside of the 71st precinct, where apparently there are police cars parked on the sidewalk. So all of these sort of considerations come into mind when we think about, you know, what is the particularly suitable use of certain types of space. It doesn't mean that there aren't spaces that should be used for all of these types of activities, but that's, you know, that's kind of my perspective coming from land use. That's just what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you for that. I did see Kyrie. Did you have did you want to do public commentary?
Yes.
Okay, before you start, hold on one second, just a quick housekeeping. If there's anyone else who wishes to do public commentary, please use the raise hand function so we can add you to the speakers list. Also at this time, I would ask if there are any, oh, hold on, I saw one. Okay, yes, we'll come back. There's a couple we have to come back for, thank you. All right, let's complete this first. I would ask all those public officials, if you are here, or representatives of officials, please get ready. We're gonna ask you to raise your hand so we can recognize you for acknowledgments immediately following public commentary. All right, Kyrie, I apologize. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say hi to everyone who have attended here, especially members of the public. To Dr. Hackett, who was earlier on, I'm so sorry to hear about everything that's going on with her. She has been coming on since last year and in many meetings. So I'm so happy to see that Dante is on it and Ms. Moses is on it as well, and you, Fred. So thank you for that. Now to address the other public comments that were given by Alicia Boyd, who I've been noticing has come to meetings now for as long as I can remember coming on the board, and Mr. Jay Sarid. I hear them, and I almost want to say, because I remember very vividly last month's meeting when I was trying to pose a motion, you know, to speak on behalf of saying maybe we should have a committee and or just to ask you, Fred, to recuse yourself from the voting process. It just seemed like I was bullied off, stuff wasn't going right. You've had support from Warren and just other members. And you know, another issue that I just wanted to make clear was that we are the voice of the public and we all are members of the public and we are supposed to be representation and representatives of everyone in our community. But the function for chat is always off. No one can actually speak. Everyone's voice from the public is limited because they weren't able to submit their commentary in the email chains and everything else. And this is what I've been speaking about for over a year now. And I would be remiss if I didn't say something right now. I don't mind if I'm stepping on anyone's toes in their mind, or if anyone wants to, you know, try and penalize me for something, because I stand for everything and it's for our community board. And they just want to be a part. And no one's saying that you're doing. I personally want to make sure you hear me clearly in case it seems as if, oh, I'm coming for you. I'm not. I think you're phenomenal. You're doing a great job. It's just that some of your bylaws, I do not feel are going to set us up great for your, you know, if you're not here for the next 4 years or 5 years, you know, if I'm not able to step up or anyone else, Warren, you know, there's so many people. So I just would like for the community to have a voice. That's why I'm here as member at large, or just being a Brooklynite. I love our community. And I just wanted to say thank you to those who are here attending from the community and let you know that we all, including Fred, we love you all, and everyone's just trying to do it in their best interest for the community. But yes, you all do need to be heard. We need to open up the chats, and I look forward to it back in person so that way everyone can have a voice and be heard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Okay, so we have Dante, if you could promote Odette Wilkins. Ms. Westerdahl, did you wish to do public commentary? I see your hand.
Sure.
Okay, so we will see you after Ms. Wilkins. Well, hold on, I'll add you to the list. There were a couple of people we had skipped over. If they're not here, then we'll get to you right after that.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was just being elevated to a panelist as you were calling me.
Yep, you have the floor right now, Ms. Wilkins.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening. I'm Odette Wilkins, and thank you very much for having me. I'm President and General Counsel of Wired Broadband, a nonprofit focusing on safe technology for the public. I'm also a technology attorney and have been for over 20 years. So I know a lot about the benefits of technology and the risks. And there are many risks associated with wireless radiation, and particularly with the Link 5G cell towers. Community boards around the city have been saying that they do not need them and they do not want them. They have been disapproving them, and they've been passing resolutions for moratoria. And their concerns are aesthetics, ill placement in historic districts, lack of privacy and security, rat infestations on existing Link NYC kiosks, and health issues related to exposure to wireless radiation. Our recommendation is that your board either disapprove or declare a moratorium, as other boards have done. There are 8 boards that have already done that, and more are going to be are doing that tonight actually, and next month. So and if you and you can also ask for an extension of time in order to consider the polls. I believe there are going to be 6 polls that is listed on the data set on the internet. And your time to have commented on it is past due. So even if it's past due, it would be good to ask for them for an extension so that you can consider this and we can give a full presentation on the issue. Now, there are many, many studies regarding the health hazards, and actually the FCC emission limits that purport to be safety guidelines were essentially discredited by a federal appellate court that told the FCC to go back to the drawing board and review all of the 11,000 pages of scientific evidence showing harm below the FCC limits. So there's a lot of scientific information. Also, the fact that these are electrical installations and they can catch on fire. So they can also be placed as close as 10.6 feet to a structure. So that means that you have a 3-foot cell tower, a 3-story cell tower that can, if it structurally is failing, can crash into someone's home, crash into a school, crash onto the sidewalk. They're only giving a 10-foot allowance when the cell tower itself is 3 stories high. So you have to have at least a fall zone of 3 stories around the area. There are many community boards who are opposing this, and I would be happy to give a presentation and to also bring 1 or 2 other experts in order to discuss this further. And I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Wilkins. So absolutely, if you can give your contact to the community board office, if we don't have it already, and we can probably refer that to one of our committees, so that way, you know, the additional conversations can be had.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're almost concluded. We can take one last comment. Ms. Westerdahl, we'll see yours, and then we're going to conclude.
Hi. 2 things. First, after what I heard from Kari and Alicia and Jay, I echo that we need to include the public in our meetings. We need to include them. We need to see their faces, and they need to see ours. They cannot see who is in our meeting unless our camera is turned on. So they can only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, maybe 7 right now. They can't see who's here. Our public deserves to know who is in the meeting, who is attending, who is listening to them. And they need to know that we love them and that we care about them, because that's what we're here for. We're here to represent our community. Okay, that's one. The second thing is I'd like to, if Odette is still here, the people from her group regarding the 5G towers came to the executive board meeting in February. I did write to the board and I did request that I and my community members, I included several community members that are concerned about those 5G towers, Link NYC, very concerned. And we've been expressing that to the community board and elsewhere, and we have not had a response. Our community board had no hearings. Our community board gave us no notice. I mean, how did that happen? I have two of those towers very close to my house, and my block association, people in my block association brought that to the attention of the board some time ago, months and months ago, and it was basically ignored. And they are quite upset about that. There's one, as I brought it before in this meetings, there's one on Empire and Bedford on the corner, and there's one very close to some housing on Montgomery and Bedford. So nobody responded to me. I wanted the information, and it's a problem when we don't have chat on, because I want Odette's information. I have to ask Community Board 9. I have to write to Dante. I have to write to you, Fred, to get that information. And you did not, nobody responded to me. That was a few days ago. I asked for it, correct? Yes. So I wanted it. I requested it at the meeting. Why can't we have the information? Why can't we do something about this? Other people are getting the 5G towers removed because they're dangerous. We want them removed as well. There's people that don't want them. They're dangerous. So why aren't we talking about it? Why is it being ignored? Why, when we brought this to you, how long ago? So I'm ranting a bit, but I'm upset about it. And I'm upset about being ignored. My community, my members, there's families in my community with young children that are particularly concerned. LaShawn came and spoke to the board about that maybe 4 months ago. What happened? All right, let's deal with this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For all those who spoke, thank you very much for the commentary. So we're going to be doing the follow-ups as appropriate. So I know the district office took some notes in terms of this and follow-ups they're going to do as well. With regards to some of the comments as well, we'll be referring those to specific committees as well. So there'll be additional follow-up, and we're hoping that we'll have some additional information and action plans generated through those. And we should hopefully, well, we will have some follow some updates as of next month. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. At this time, we have concluded our public comment period. We are now going to move on to acknowledgements. So I see we have a number of friends with us this evening. Dante, if you would, please identify those representatives or officers that are with us this evening.
We have Teresa Cunningham, DSNY.
Good evening, everyone. I will be brief, but I just wanted to bring you greetings from the Department of Sanitation. I am with the Community Affairs Office, and I also wanted just to make sure that everyone was aware that our set out laws are going to be changing as of April 1st. Well, they technically have already been changed, but effective April 1st, we will be, monitoring to ensure that people are adhering to the new rules, which essentially say that if you are going to put your garbage out in a containerized bin, so in a 55-gallon container or smaller, you can do that after 6 p.m. The current time is 4 p.m., but it is going to change to 6 p.m. if it is in a garbage can with a lid. If you are going to place it out in a secure black bag, then you have to wait until 8 p.m. Again, if you're going to put it out in a black bag, it's going to be after 8 p.m. And this also applies to businesses. So this is both for residential as well as for commercial establishments. The goal, of course, is just to reduce the time that trash is obstructing our sidewalks, which should, hopefully have benefits for rodents and things that get into the garbage and stuff like that. So again, the time is going to be changing. You will no longer be able to place it out after 4 p.m. It would have to be after 6 p.m. if it is in a basket, if it's in a garbage can with a lid, after 6 p.m. If it is in black bags, securely tied, it can be after 8 p.m. For businesses, if they can place it out in a container 1 hour before closing, if it is in a container. If it is in a black bag, they too must wait until after 8 p.m. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for coming this evening. Actually, does DSNY have any flyers or any communications
We
like
do,
that?
and we can make flyers. I can email Dante tomorrow the flyers, but I can also stop by the office and bring some if you want some printed.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, Teresa.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Typically, we don't do questions. Very briefly, one quick one, very quick.
So residential multiple family dwellings, DSNY, how does that work when staff leaves at 4?
They still would be subject to the same. As of right now, there are no exceptions. So it still would apply. At this moment, it would still apply.
How does that work? That's what I'm asking. Staff leaves at 4, garbage can't go out until 6. Staff doesn't come in till 8 the next day. How does that work?
They get a ticket.
Right. I would not be able to answer that, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm informing you of what the rule is going to be.
Yeah, property owners my guess is property owners are going to have to take care of that and address that operationally. But if there are questions, if there are property owners who have questions, we have Ms. Cunningham here, so they can always forward those to the office, or we can connect you with Ms. Cunningham, who might be able to assist with that. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Cunningham. Okay, Dante, who we have?
Taekwon Coleman, Councilmember Joseph.
Good evening, everyone. Taekwon Coleman here, Chief of Staff to the council member. I just want to say great to see you all again. I just want to point out that we have a fire safety town hall tomorrow with many of the members' state and city counterparts at Lenox Road Baptist Church from 6 to, excuse me, it's not tomorrow, it's March 2nd, from 6 to 8. So 1356 Nostrand. It's going to be, like I said, with her city and state counterparts. There have been a number of fires in the district, unfortunately. So we want it to be as responsive as possible. As always, we're available 718-287-8762. My direct number is 929-496-6341. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Coleman. Good seeing you.
All right. We have Camille, Senator Myri's office.
Hi, everyone. My name is Camille. I work for Senator Myri. I'm just filling in for Portia tonight. I know she's your usual representative from our office. Just a few quick shout outs for some news clips that have happened. I'll drop those in the chat later in case anyone's interested, but we had a little legislative recap on News 12 this past weekend with the senator, just talking about all that has happened this session. A few bills he highlighted are our winter evictions moratorium, the clean slate, good cause, and our NYCHA utilities bill, which moved to a new committee today. We also had a Gothamist article on the NYCHA utilities bill that will just help speed up any repairs that need to be done on gas and electric utilities in NYCHA buildings. And lastly, we were on David Lombardo's podcast, The Capitol Press Room, talking about our Black Future Month program. So again, I'll drop all the links in the chat for those. We held our State of the District this past Sunday at Medgar Evers College. We had performances by Tropical Fete, Brooklyn Conservatory of Music, Theater of the Oppressed, BS 161 and MS 61. That will be going up on our YouTube channel later this week if you missed it and want a chance to see the senator's remarks. And lastly, our office is always open for constituent services. We do only take constituents by appointment only. You can always call and make those appointments. We're open Monday through Thursday for those. We also now have a caseworker from Churches United for Fair Housing in our office every Wednesday to help constituents find and apply for affordable housing, and to help assist with any landlord and tenant issues. I'll drop all the information for our office contacts in the chat as well. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a chat, but
Oh,
any
never mind.
information you have, no, but any information you have, please make sure you get that to a district office, to Dante and me in college, and we put those out as part of our weekly community blast as well.
Great. Well,
All right.
thank
And
you.
if there's anyone on who would like to get those will be available through the district office as well. And do you have a contact office for Senator Myrie? You can just give out really quickly, or?
Yes, you can reach our office at 718-284-4700. That's our district office phone.
Okay. And thank you for joining us this evening.
Okay, next we have DMA, Councilmember Hudson.
Hi, everyone. My name is Demi Brown. I am the manager of services for Councilmember Crystal Hudson. I'm here to just introduce myself as the new liaison for our office and CV9. And yeah, I wanted to let y'all know that we're going to have a constituent service hour, March 14th at the Central Brooklyn Central Branch Public Library. And so you all can stop by between 4 and 8 to meet the constituent service team. I also wanted to let you know to save the date from March 19th, I believe. We're going to be having coffee with Crystal, and that's a chance for everyone to come and meet the council member and ask her questions. If you want to reach our office, our number is 718-260-9191. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining us this evening.
All right, next we have Mr. Ellie Slavin, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke's office.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ellie Slavin. I'm community liaison for Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, members, of course, in DC. We are open for business. We're at 222 Lenox Road. That's between Rogers and Nostrand. Our number is 718-287-1142. I'm not going to keep you on the meeting with events. We have a website, clark.house.gov. There's a lot of information of what's going on in DC, committees she's on, new committees, past committees. We're very busy in the office with passports, immigration, Social Security, IRS issues, and veterans issues. So please, if yourselves or anybody, feel free to call us. We're at 718-287-1142. And I wish you all a good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us again, as usual, Mr. Slavin. Dante, yes.
All right, we have Karen from Assembly Member Frank Forrest's office.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. Justin Freeman from our office is usually here, but he's out this week. So I just have a few quick announcements for everyone. First, I wanted to share that our office will be doing 2 free tax prep clinics in collaboration with Grow Brooklyn. So those will be on March 13th and March 23rd, and you can come to our office at 55 Hanson Place. It's the Shirley Chisholm office building, and there will be tax specialists there who will help you do your taxes for free. Secondly, we're also going to be hosting a housing clinic with Mobilization for Justice. So if there are any people who need help with housing issues, eviction, housing search, other tenant issues, we will be hosting that clinic on Wednesday, March 15th, also at our district office. Some of you guys may already know this, but there is a new proposal to redistrict the assembly lines because of last year's court case. It's a little bit complicated, but I'll share all of this with Dante so it goes out in the email, but tomorrow is actually the last day for anyone who wants to submit testimony regarding the redistricting, and it does affect Community Board 9 slightly. It would put some of the parts of Assembly District 57 that used to be part of a district back in. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can visit the website www.nyirc.gov to learn more. And then my final update is just about some of the legislation that the Assembly member is working on. As you may know, we're in the middle of state budget season, and one of the Assembly member's top priorities is an investment in diversion courts, which allow people with substance abuse and mental health issues to receive in-community treatment if they qualify for that, instead of being incarcerated where their mental health issues are likely to get worse. So this bill is called Treatment Not Jail. It's something that we've been working on very actively, and I'll share some recent news articles that have come out regarding that. So like I said, I'll share all this information with Dante and the rest of the team so that you guys can receive it in an email. But if you need any assistance from our office, you can call us at 718-596-0100, or you can email us at ad57@nyassembly.gov. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, are there any other representatives that we have not had an opportunity to recognize?
Yes, Karen from the DA's office.
Karen, how you doing? Please, ma'am, you have the floor.
Good night, everyone. I bring you greetings from the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, Eric Gonzalez. I want to thank everybody that came out to our Black History event last Thursday. The event was, I can't say, it was spectacular. Eric Roberson, he is fantastic. And we for this month, well, March, we are working on our Women's History Month, and I hope you all come out and see what our office has to offer. If you have any issues or concerns, don't hesitate to call me. My phone number is 718-250-4877. And if any committees are having any job fairs or health fairs and need somebody to speak out about the law, please reach out to us. Our attorneys are always willing to come out to participate. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, I think we've exhausted the list of representatives. I want to thank all the representatives from all the offices who have been here. We thank you for all your partnership and service, and we continue to look forward to working with you as we address a number of issues in the district and in the community. Okay, so at this time, we have completed our public session. We are now going to go into the business session for this evening. At this time, I would ask Madam Secretary, can you call the roll?
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, and again, I would remind all board members, please make sure you're watching your mics. Keep them muted if you are not speaking. But listen up for your names, please.
Kyrie Ellie.
Here.
Nicholas Almanar. Nicholas.
Present.
Thank you. Stuart Balberg. Fred Baptiste.
Present.
Naomi Baptiste. John Beckles Jr.
Present.
Rabbi Yaakov Berman.
Present for now.
Thank you. Warren Burke.
Here.
Augustine Blackwell.
Present.
Celeste Chase.
Present.
Suki Chow.
Present.
So Clary.
Present.
Jamie Esteen. Jamie Epstein.
Present.
Thank you. Tessa Hackett Vieira. Bishop Hamilton Gonzalez. Bishop Gonzalez. Okay, I'll come back. Primo Lozana,
Here.
Mena Lagote, Mina Lagote. Thank you. Francisco Leopold. Michael Leiberg. Matthias Limberger. Courtney Luisal.
Present.
Courtney, thank you. Christian Lubo.
Here.
Letrin Mavina.
Present.
Thank you. Erin Magazurski. Patricia Moses.
Here.
Beverly Newsom.
Here.
Yankee Pearson. Ted Pilcati. Milford Pewitt. Mr. Pewitt. Okay, I can see you.
Here.
Thank you. Thank you. Unella Rompari.
Here.
Thank you. Dexter Roberts.
Who?
Dexter Roberts. Felice Robertson.
Okay. Okay, present. Felicia Robertson.
Right.
Thank you.
Rashida Sadiq. Rashida.
Here.
Thank you. Debbie Timothy.
Present.
Linda Watson, Lord, present. Teresa Westerdahl.
Present.
Lorianne Wolseley. Could I run back through those that didn't answer?
If you could, please. Thank you.
Okay. Stuart Balberg. Naomi Baptiste.
Hi, this is Pearson. I think I missed my name before.
Yankee Pearson.
Yes.
Where do we go? Okay, I got you. I got you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Bishop Gonzalez.
Present.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tessa Hackett Vieira. Francisco Leopold. Michael Leiberg. Matthias Limberger. Erin Mazurski.
Actually, she should be excused. Mazurski is excused.
Okay, thank you. Ted Picati. Dexter Roberts and Lorianne Wolseley. Mr. Chair, we've got 27 present.
Okay, 27
Out
present.
of a quorum. Yeah, out of a list of 38 people.
Okay, 27 present, we have a quorum. Okay, so at this time, actually, before we continue on, I would like to offer these following amendments to the agenda for this evening. If we can, if we—
Hold on a minute. Don't go so fast. Let me grab my agenda.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm listening now. I'm good to go.
All right. First one would be to add the treasurer's report after the district office report.
Okay, so that becomes number 5.
Correct.
Mhm.
Second item would be to add to the agenda the base license renewal for Union Limo, as that was not added at the executive committee, so this is just to formally add it to the agenda.
But that's on this agenda on the 6th.
It is, but we didn't vote on it. Yeah, we
Okay.
published it, but it wasn't what was approved by the exec, which is the reason why I want the board to adopt it.
Thank you.
No, thank you for that. And let me see, I think for the voting session, we have for youth services, I believe The chair wanted to move her item up, so we move it from B to A. We'll consider that first. We'll just switch the order, and then we'll continue
Okay.
from there.
Okay. Thank you. Agenda corrected.
So those are the proposed changes to the agenda for this evening. Are there any objections to the proposed changes? Can we consider adopted by common consent? Any objections? Okay, hearing no objections, the agenda is adopted by common consent as amended. Okay, so we're going to go on to item 2, the approval of the January 23 general board meeting minutes. The minutes have been provided to all the board members. Are there any questions, or are there any amendment? Are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes? Okay, please use the raise hand function. Are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, is there any objection to approving the minutes via common consent? Hearing no objections, the minutes are approved by common consent. We are now going to move on to committee reports. The committee reports have been distributed to the board. At this time, I would ask, all of those are for information purposes only. Those items that have action items are listed as part of the voting session. So at this time, I would ask only reports from chairs who have urgent business or announcements they need to make. And please keep any reports less than 1 minute, please. Are there any chairs who need to make a report at this time or announcement? I see Chair of Land Use. Ms. Moses, you have the floor.
Oh, I have the floor?
Yeah, you said you have an announcement?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to make an announcement that the ULUP committee has invited the Hudson Company, which represents 975 Notion Avenue. And in case you don't know where that location is, it used to be the Associate Supermarket. Anyway, they are scheduled to come out on March the 14th at 7 p.m. to give a presentation. That's it. Thank you. Oh,
okay.
I just wanted to invite Beverly because I know that it also involves some units for housing. So if Beverly and any other members want to come, and also the community needs to come. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Ms. Newsom, I see you.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone in the room, the walkthrough for Breaking Ground was rescheduled to the 20th of March.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And the district office will make sure to publish that as well. So
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other chairs? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt? Did you have anything else, or are you good?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, are there any other chairs with announcements?
Chair, could I ask Ms. Newsom a question? Sorry. Just a clarification, would the same timing stand, only thing changes the date or the, or?
Yes, the only thing that changes is the date.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There was concern, just FYI for everyone who's in the room is concerned about that. When there was prediction of bad weather for today, it was rescheduled. I mean, the slippy and all that, that's kind of self-explanatory, but in case someone didn't think about it, that's why it was rescheduled. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other chairs? Final call.
Hey, Fred.
Oh, yes,
one quick announcement, which was just, and then maybe this would be in Dante's report, but we've invited the Office of Cannabis Management to come to the next Public Safety Committee meeting to talk a little bit more about the licensing process. So if anybody from the community is interested in learning more, that will be held on March 9th at 7 p.m. And they have confirmed their attendance.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And just to jump into the act, on behalf of the Transportation Committee, I wanted to thank everyone who showed up for the town hall. I think it was very successful. We got a lot of good feedback from that. Additionally, we are looking at having discussions with regards to the MTA bus, Brooklyn bus redesign that is going to be on the agenda for the March meeting, as well as follow-ups on the Brooklyn Town Hall with respect to the B41. So all are welcome, and we are definitely interested in getting feedback and commentary. Okay. Okay, so with that, unless there are any other chairs, we are going to move on to the district office report. At this time, I invite our district manager, Dante Arnwine.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. The district service cabinet was held this morning. Board members, you should have received the minutes of that and an email that came that went out earlier today in the reminder email for the general board. So I just wanted to bring up a couple of things from the district service cabinet. The fire happened, I believe, yesterday at 1760 Union Street. The cause of that fire has yet to be determined. I'm in communication with FDNY to figure out, how we could go about doing some fire education pop-up in the immediate impact area. So just look out for that once that gets finalized. And once a report is generated, I will provide an update on that as well. The New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene provides free virtual naloxone trainings. On completion, participants can request a kit by mail. We have the information. You can see that information on NYC Health naloxone webpage. So if you would like the information, please reach out. Also, the Department for the Aging, NYC Aging, is trying to get older adults back into the senior centers. The centers are open. So if you know of anyone who's interested in their closest senior center, just let us know. We will search the closest center for them and give them directions to that location. Just an update on the weather from OCM that happened last night. There were no significant outages or severe weather incidents that occurred. So that's good for everyone. So just an update on the weather that happened last night. Just want to encourage everyone as well to sign up for Notify NYC. It gives alerts on weather, transit. I use it. So I would definitely encourage everyone to sign up for Notify NYC. The reconstruction of Empire Boulevard, that completion date is still set for June of this year. They're still replacing the sewer in front of the McDonald's. Apparently an embargo was put on for work between March 10th and 17th, I think due to the Go Hard or Go Home half marathon. So they're trying to, or I believe they submitted a waiver to try to work up into the 17th to try to get some of the work done. But if any more updates come about with that project, I will let you all know. Very important, a second emergency HEAP grant was opened to yesterday. If you are eligible, or if you're interested in finding out if you're eligible, please call 718-557-1399. More information on that program, you can reach out to the board office. Also, folks may be eligible for a bill credit from Con Edison. Eligible customers will have it, the credit automatically applied in 2023. Residential customers will be credited up to $4,750. And then small business customers will be credited up to $11,000. If you think that you might possibly be eligible for this bill credit, reach out to me so I can get some information from Con Edison and I'll send it your way. Let's see. The March calendar for the board has been uploaded to the CB9 website. So please direct anyone who's interested in attending any future meetings to the website. It's already on there. Once we receive all the agendas from the committee chairs, we will post them accordingly. I'm sure, as mentioned, SYEP application is now live. Individuals 14 to 24 are eligible to participate in the summer youth employment. I definitely would encourage, if you're part of an organization here in the community, sign up to be a work site. We sign up to be a work site every summer. It really gives an opportunity for some of the youth to participate in government and see public service firsthand. So if you are interested in that, reach out to the board office. We can get you that information, the application for that. The deadline to sign up is March 31st of this year. Let's see, community board applications have closed. If there's any updates on the applications from Borough Hall, we'll be sure to notify you all. A district level summary of the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign was sent to all board and resident committee members. It's also on our news section of our website. I realized that the full redesign is about 600 and something pages. And so we were able to get something that is condensed, I think down to like 18 pages. That's very specific to Community District 9. So I definitely encourage everyone to go onto the website, download it, look at the changes. Some routes are changing. Definitely, if you know of anyone who may be impacted, who takes the bus, connect them to the board office. We'll make sure that we get them that information because it's extremely important. Let's see. Again, if you know of anyone who needs information, please have them reach out to the board office. We want to continue to have people sign up for our e-blast. We get information from all over the place. So please have them reach out to the board office. I am still working on getting an update regarding the Shirley Chisholm monument that was supposed to be erected at Ocean and Parkside Avenue. That announcement, I believe, was back in late 2018. I'm trying to nail down exactly which agency has this capital project. Once I have that information, I'll report back. The board office will be holding bi-monthly pop-ups with HPD mobile units starting in April of this year. The dates and locations will follow. So we're very fortunate to have something that's very routine. We're going to try to do it all across the district. We realize that we have a lot of large facilities and buildings in our district, and so we're going to try to be extremely strategic working with HPD to get these resources out and across the district. We also have a free tax prep with the Department of Consumer Worker Protection coming up on March 30th of this year. That information, the login information, is already on our website. If you know of anyone who would need that information, please direct them to our website or direct them to the board office if they need any more information. I do know that this has been a topic of discussion in a couple of community boards, definitely our own. The City Bike placements. As of right now, we're taking feedback on those placements and forwarding it to the Department of Transportation. The City Bike feedback survey is actually online. You can go on there. It's still active. You can put in where that location of the City Bike station is that you likely don't like, and then also suggest a new location for it. So I definitely want to encourage folks, if you are hearing about any City Bike stations that are problematic, please go onto that City Bike survey and fill that information out. Also, this is extremely important. I don't believe that the chair for Health and Social Services is on, so I'm just going to make the announcement. We were able to get confirmed representatives from the Department of Homeless Services to come to the Health and Social Services Committee meeting this coming Thursday. As you may or may not know, a shelter was placed, a shelter site was placed in our district on Parkside Avenue. We requested for DHS to come before the committee and give a presentation. So they're going to come to the committee this Thursday. If you're able to come out, or if you have any questions that you have, send them to the board office prior, and I will send them over to DHS. So maybe they can get the information prior to coming to the committee meeting. But we were able to get them confirmed, and now they're going to show and give a presentation on that site. So again, if you know of anyone who may be impacted by this, have them reach out to the board office. We'll make sure that we get them the committee meeting information login And again, if you have any questions yourself, if you can't make it to the committee meeting, reach out to the board office tomorrow or prior to the meeting. And hopefully I can shoot those over to DHS and they can have answers when they show to the committee meeting. Okay, with that, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much for the report. We will take a few questions for the district manager. Please use the raise hand function and we will create a speakers list.
I see Mr. Pruitt.
And Ed Warren.
All right.
I'm
and
sorry, who
Warren.
did you see first? Who did you see
I
first?
see Mr. Pruitt and then Warren.
Okay, we'll take that.
The raised hand function isn't working on my computer for some odd reason.
Same here.
Okay.
You guys broke them?
Yeah, we're roommates. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dante, can you describe physically any of the details about that shelter that's going up on Parkside? Like how many rooms is it? How many people will it house? Will it be single sex or family oriented, or is it for? Can you describe any of the details about it?
Let's see. I believe that it is for stabilization beds. Give me 1 second. Okay, so yes, stabilization beds, information I have is 66 beds. And yeah, it just popped up in our district. And so we reached out to DHS. We're going to get more information in that presentation. And so again, if you have any direct questions regarding the location, please reach out to the board office tomorrow, send them in so I can send them over to DHS. I would rather get the questions to DHS first so they can come to the committee and actually have answers rather than just constantly being bombarded.
And what does stabilization mean in this case?
Oh, goodness. Unfortunately, I don't work for DHS, so that's outside of my expertise. But I would definitely ask that question if you're able to make it to the committee meeting, but that's a fine question. And if that's a question that you want asked, just send an email to the board office and I'll be sure to send it over to you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, before we move on. So Ms. Moses, I see you. Ms. Chung, I see you. Are there any other members of the board who have a question? Please raise your hand now because we're going to close it right after. Okay, I see no other members. So we're going to see Burke, Moses, Chung, and we are going to move on. Okay, go ahead, Warren.
Hi, this is Burke, otherwise known as Warren. I have one really important announcement. As you all know, Central Brooklyn is a major user of benefits from the government. The federal government has now, or it will be as of, actually I don't know the date, but soon, discontinuing the COVID benefits analysis, the added benefits that were going on. So there's two things. If you receive Medicaid during the COVID period, expect a review of your case because that's what they're doing. I've had a number of calls of people who are losing their Medicaid based on the federal government's cancellation. And that leads into our local benefits of SNAP. There was an additional benefit of $95 per month, and that is being, stopped. In addition to that, one of the people I'm advocating for have received a notice that their SNAP benefits have been canceled. So you got to really watch for that. If you do have issues or comments, contact the board office and I'll be happy to take a look at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Warren. Ms. Moses.
Yes. Again, good evening. This is what, in terms of communication, I would like the information to be sent out to board members. In other words, if there is going to be a presentation or something, it still should be sent to the board members. And I understand you posted, but that's not really good enough. we are used to getting like something that tells us in advance about what's going to happen for presentations. And second of all, I'm not exactly sure how the information comes out to us, because there are times that I have sent things in for answers into the district office, and I don't get an answer unless I follow up myself. So I just think that the written communication really needs to be improved. And just like a Parkside, only the first time I heard about Parkside, well, it was brought up, and I'm like, and I live like a hop, skip, and a jump from where you're talking about. And I had no clue until it was brought up. And so things like that, I think, should be sent out to an entire board so that we can take a look at it. And second of all, with our elected officials, everybody comes to the board and say that we are only advisors. And I think that once again, and again, Dante, I'm not saying it's your fault or anybody's fault, but I'm really concerned that the elected officials are not coming to certain meetings, especially like in terms of ULUP. Like right now, we're getting ready to do, something that deals with 975 Nostrand Avenue. And in my opinion, we're the elected officials. These are the people that we vote in. So again, Dante, I would like you to reach out to them. So at least invite them to the meeting that's coming up on the 14th. But again, I would like to see better communication from the district office in writing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I think one of the things I would ask is for all the chairs, especially, as you know that, as you're making your agendas, if you know that you're having guest speakers or people of note that we would definitely want people to know, please make sure that you highlight that instead of just sending just an agenda, to make sure that you also highlight that there is a particular person who is coming that may be of note, because we can send that as a separate flyer as well. So it's not just the text agenda, but you can also get a flyer saying that X person from wherever organization is going to be there, so that way the community will have an opportunity to ask questions. But definitely, I know Dante and the team will take that back in terms of how do we spotlight, especially when we have those kinds of people here. I would also say that just from conversations we've had internally in terms of myself with the office as well, it's probably more difficult to have the expectation that elected officials will show up for every single board meeting, just because we have our general board meeting, we have the executive committee meeting, plus we have 10 committee meetings as well. So to say that you're gonna have a representative come to all 10 of them may not be something we can do, but particularly if you have a matter that you want to have a representative there, please make sure you let the district office know that as well, so we can try and make sure we get on calendars as necessary and appropriate.
But Fred, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, right now, there is something that's happening in the community with 975. And to me, there should be an elected official showing up. Because we want to know where they stand also. Let them come and listen too. That was my point. And I think that for meetings like that, we can reach out for them. There should be a representative there.
And that's the point I'm saying. If that's something that you would like to have at that specific meeting, absolutely, and we can make sure we make the outreach. But I think we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Okay, Suki, and then we're moving on to the agenda.
Yeah, again, in regards to communication, and I'm not saying this is you, Dante, but when did you first receive written notice about the shelter at Parkside Avenue? Because I believe DHS is required to give communities 30 days notice. So when is this going to open? Is it already open?
Yeah.
How were you notified?
Yeah, let me look through my email. I'm sure it's via email. So let me look through it, okay?
Okay. And then the second thing is citing and franchises are supposed to go through the ULURP committee. That's what the borough president's office told us a couple months ago. So things like the 5G towers, those were actually a franchise. We don't have a committee that's designated to deal with DOITT issues. That could have gone through the ULURP committee. Citing of city facilities, I don't know homeless shelters specifically, but in general, all these kinds of facilities, that's supposed to go through the ULURP committee. So these things should, I agree with Pat, the notice should be sent out to all board members, but it should also be coming before our committees with the proper notice. Because like now that you're saying it's 66 units, the address that I know of, it's on the corner of Parkside Court, that building was converted from Class A dwelling units to 19 SRO units, meaning 19 single rooms.
And
How could you possibly hold
beds,
66
beds,
beds?
beds,
That's,
beds
you
and
know,
units, two different things. 66 beds.
right. So they're going to put 3 beds per SRO room. That's quite concerning. So I think
I
that's
am
the
having
reason
them
that
come
these
present.
things should be going through committee, right? I mean, and you know, so in future, can you get these regular updates from these agencies at your district service cabinet meetings? You know, how are you going to make sure that we're informed, whether it's 5G towers or homeless shelters or whatever, on time? Because there actually are requirements for them to come to us, but they're not. We're not finding out until it's a done deal.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I mean, everyone's as shocked as I am. And this is exactly what happens. These agencies literally do these things and then people complain and then it ends up in front of me. And then everyone's asking me, well, why didn't I know? Because this is exactly what they do. They literally do this. And so I don't know. I do not know until people, some of these things I don't know until they tell me, especially with the Department of Transportation. But you know, all I can do is once I get the information, reach out, get them to come present, get all the information and disseminate it to the board. I hear the sentiments about getting the information out to the board in a timely fashion. I also want to make it very clear that we send out a lot of information. There is a lot of information that goes out, and I know that a lot of board members don't read the information, right? And what I don't want to do is send out partial information on something so important, right? Because then it's going to get lost in all the other emails that we send. So I just want everyone to understand from my thought of view as a manager, I want to send out a whole package of information for all of you to read and to review, so then you can make informed decisions. As soon as the information comes into the board office, because I know that you're going to ask for them to come and present, right? This is kind of how the board works, right? We have questions, we want them to come present. Now, if there are hard questions that a committee has, please let me know. I will ask those in the district service cabinet, or I will get an email and forward it over to the liaison, and then they'll update me in the district service cabinet. But as soon as stuff comes in, we do our due diligence to try and get it out to everyone on the board, our resident committee members, posting it online, and we'll continue to do that moving forward.
Okay.
Hi, this is Warren.
Warren, I'm sorry, we've already exhausted.
No, I want to add one point of historical information here.
I'm sorry, Warren, but we've already closed, Warren, we've already closed the list. I will have it in mind, Warren, we've already closed the list. I will actually have it as part of mine. We can bring it up there, but I want to make sure we're moving the agenda. So if you can hold your question, I'll have it on mine. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, could I say one thing if I could, please?
I'm sorry, no, I can't. We have to move on because we already closed the speakers list. When I get to my report, if it's something, there'll probably be a couple of items that I have similar to Dante, you'll be able to do it there. Okay. All right. Okay, so thank you very much for the report. At this time, we will have our report from our treasurer.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The finances are in good shape for this month, and we have no expenses, no large expenses for the next 30 days. I would suggest that we start to think about the community fair, if that's something we want to do, as there'll be expenses for that in the coming months. But as of right now, there are no expenses more than $3,000, no large expenses for next 30 days. I think there's a lot of attachments that went out prior to this meeting. If I can ask the district office to also just send the budget snapshot for the month of February, that'd be helpful. That way everyone sees exactly what we have in terms of what's been spent and where we still have money allocated. I won't take up too much time because I know there's a lot of items to vote on this evening, and I personally have a hard stop at 10 o'clock. But I did just want to share with the board that this will be my last general board meeting. I very much enjoyed serving as your treasurer in Community Board 9. It's been great. I think that there are, of course, differences of opinion in terms of what we look at to do and how we see things in our neighborhood, but ultimately, I think there are more things that bring us together and more commonalities between us as compared to things that divide us. And it's been a pleasure to serve all of you. I'm taking a role as one of the associate commissioners in the Department of Design and Construction in early March. So I will not be able to serve as treasurer anymore, but I think that we've been able to do some good work, both in terms of doing a financial literacy workshop in early to mid-November, and then also getting the Friends of Community Board 9 nonprofit up and running again. So, you know, that nonprofit is ready to go. We've worked with Albany. They know that we have this nonprofit now. Huge thanks to Warren for getting our first contribution to Friends of, and I think that, you know, the tools are in place for the board and all of you to continue to take this wherever you want to take it. So I'm looking forward to continuing to contribute to Community Board 9, just in a different capacity. And, you know, I think the story that that Dr. Hackett shared earlier this evening, and also shared last month is really important. And so to the extent possible that I can be helpful in the city agency that I'll be working in, I want to be helpful and want to make sure that everyone in our neighborhood knows you have a partner at the Department of Design and Construction. So thank you for the opportunity, and huge thanks to Fred, our chair. I think doing a great job, and appreciate the opportunity to serve.
We'll take questions for our treasurer. Any questions for our treasurer? I'm gonna put myself on the list, but I'll go last.
Who would take over for your role then, Christian?
That's a great question. I think that there may be an intern person, or you'll have to do an election. I defer to the executive board in terms of how they'll want to run things, but I did do a call well, that was more regarding Friends of, to kind of put things in order and make sure that the documents are in place. And I'm always going to be a resource. So whoever becomes treasurer next, you know, I'm only a phone call away, and I'm happy to be helpful however I can.
Will you be involved in both residential and commercial construction?
That's a good question. Thank you. The way that Department of Design and Construction works is it's more construction of public goods. So everything from the East Side Resiliency Project on the Lower East Side of Manhattan to fortify Manhattan from future hurricanes, everything as large as that to sidewalks and sewers. So it's really more focused on capital projects that serve a public good. It's not so much residential or commercial.
So you might be overstepping your boundaries if you decide to help Dr. Hackett.
Well, I mentioned Dr. Hackett, and I don't want to get too far off course, but I mentioned Dr. Hackett just because I know she's shared her challenges in terms of getting in touch with the city agency. And I think that sometimes for all of us, it can be frustrating when we try and get in touch with the city agency, even what we were just talking about with the shelter coming up on Parkside. You know, sometimes city agencies aren't as responsive, or we don't get the information in a way that is helpful in enough advance notice. So to the extent that I can be helpful from my small purview in DDC, then I'm happy to be helpful. And maybe that means giving a brief update every so often to let you all know about projects in the neighborhood or some of the other things that the agency is working on.
I see. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Warren, I will see you
Kristen,
next.
Hello?
I'm sorry, hold on. I need to take a speaker's list, but let's see. Warren, I see you next. Anybody else who wants to speak, please raise your hand or wave so that way we can get a list. We do need to make sure that we're moving. Any other?
I just
Okay,
want to
Warren, I
make
see
a,
you.
you
Bishop
hear me,
Gonzalez.
Fred?
I
Yes.
hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Kristen, I just want to thank you for your remarkable service to our chairman and to our community, and I wish you all the best. May God's grace go with you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Warren, I see you. Primo, if there are any other questions, please use the raise hand function right now. Okay, seeing no other hands, we're going to close on Primo. Warren, you have the floor.
Yes, first of all, Mr. Pruitt, I found out how to raise my hand. You go into reactions, and that's where it is. The most important thing I want.
And mine is still missing.
Okay, well, I found it, so maybe you
Okay.
could try.
All right.
But anyway,
looking.
I have to tell you that I've been the treasurer probably, I don't know, 8 years ago. And I just really appreciate and respect the work that Chris has done. He has really brought us up to a level of being state of the art with the treasury. He's organized things. He's created Google Sheets. He's created a whole bunch of things. And I just really respect that. On a personal note, I am so proud of younger people making progress in terms of their career. And I just really want to say to Chris, I'm personally proud of him, as well as I really respect the work that he's done. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. You've been a huge help from the beginning. And I mean, some of the stuff, particularly with Friends of, there's no way I could have done it by myself. So I think that, you know, just to hark back to what I mentioned earlier, I do think that we're stronger together as a community the more we work together. Of course, there's always going to be differences, but there's a lot that we have in common. So thanks for your partnership.
Agreed, and thank you, Chris, and good luck.
Okay, Primo, you have the floor.
Yeah, Christian, no deviation. I'm on 2 speaker things. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. I just similarly, Christian, wanted to appreciate your term of service. It's been a pleasure working with you. You have always approached this space with the community's best interest at heart. You've treated everybody here with respect. You have always been thoughtful in your comments. You've always done the proper preparation for every time that you come before this group. We could use more people like you. It is a loss for the community board that will be losing you to the city, but it is a gain for the city of New York. And so I know that we'll stay in touch beyond this, but I really valued our time together. And I hope that many more folks join the community board in the future who approach the work the same way that you do.
Thanks, Primo. I really appreciate that. I mean, I've always admired the work that you've been doing ever since the youth services committee, and now at the public safety committee. I've been amazed at some of the work, and particularly with the Brooklyn Botanical Garden and Union Square Hospitality Group, and making sure that we're holding them to high standards and accountability. So it's been a great pleasure for me to watch you shine and learn from you. And of course, I'm looking forward to continuing to stay in touch.
Okay. I will exercise my prerogative as the chair. Chris, all I have to say is in such a very short time, you made such a big impact on the board. I want to thank you for your passion, for your professionalism, for your genuine concern for this district. I've gotten to know you on a personal level as well, and you're just a really good, decent human being and a good guy. On behalf of Community Board 9, we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. You know, the Zoom is always open, and when the room is open, you are always welcome in those spaces as well. So it's not goodbye, but it's until we see you again, because you're always a part of Community Board 9, you're always part of Community District 9. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Fred. I really appreciate the opportunity to serve and have learned so much from you in terms of how you implement process and procedure and fairness across the board. And I think that we're lucky as a community to have you as our chair. So a lot of gratitude to you, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we are going to move on in the agenda this time to the report of the chair. I'm going to try and be very quick with this. There's many of the items have already been touched on in a number of other reports and comments. But what I do want for everyone to take from this is that we have a ton of stuff going. In looking at the calendar, this month really kind of represents the second half of our board year. And we already have a lot of things coming up. So I want to thank you for all the work. I want to thank this board and all the members for all the work that they've done to this point. But also point out that there's going to be a lot more work coming up. So it's really going to call for the board to be focused, to be effective, to be efficient, to make sure that we're working together as a team in terms of being able to take care of all the work that needs to get done. Just a few points I wanted to touch on. So board membership, and I believe the district manager already talked about that. So the board applications for the board have closed, but the work is still going to continue. Part of what we're doing as well is because, we need to, we've been beating the drum for a while that it's important that members show. We need for members to show for these board meetings. We need for members to show up to their committee meetings. We ask that you honor those commitments. Part of what we've been doing over the last couple of months is doing the review in terms of attendance, having conversations as necessary. So we're already starting to do the work in terms of making sure that we're having the conversations necessary to make sure the people who are here are the people who are going to come and do the work. There'll be additional conversations we're having with chairs as well regarding the committees, making sure that members are showing up and attending. And you will probably see within the next week or so, we'll have revised rosters in terms of there'll be some paring down in terms of if there are members who are no longer serving on those committees or on the board. But additional information as that goes along as well. Very briefly, I want to talk about two items for the Transportation Committee that we mentioned before, the Flatbush Avenue Corridor Town Hall. We had the town hall last week, and I want to thank all those members of the Transportation Committee who served as facilitators. I want to thank all those members of the board who came and provided commentary, and to all the residents of the district who came out as well. It was very well attended, and I was really, really pleased with the candor, with the concern about the potential of any of the changes on the corridor. So we were able to get a lot of good feedback and commentary, looking to synthesize that and have additional conversations in terms of understanding really what the sentiments of the community are with respect to Flatbush and the corridor, not just our section, but all together. What things we need to make sure are priorities if there are any changes made, and understanding those things and being able to advocate as a board. So I definitely invite for people to come to the Transportation Committee meetings to provide that commentary. Similarly, the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign. So there was a district level meeting that was had, I believe it was February 7th. And not to sugarcoat it, there are some proposals that are concerning because of the potential impacts that they will have on the residents of the district. So we have done outreach to the MTA. There is still time in terms of being able to provide commentary and feedback with some of the proposals that were given. But the one thing I want to make sure is that we are working at a higher tempo in terms of we don't know when things become final. There are a lot of deadlines that haven't been settled or established yet, but we don't want to be caught napping where where doors close and it's too late for us to provide the input. So those will be items that will be discussed at future Transportation Committee meetings, and you're invited to go to those. The district manager already spoke with respect to the 205 Parkside Avenue shelter. And I do want to say, just from that respect, this was something that was a surprise to the board in terms of the agency basically declared it as a final, not a conversation, which is still a concern to us. So I do want to thank the district office for reaching out to DHS in terms of making sure that there's representation from the agency to explain what exactly is going here, what the parameters are, what support services are being done, and just in terms of the process overall. Because I think as a matter of respect, that is something that should have been communicated to the board way in advance, and that's something that there should have been input from the board with respect to that as well. One of the feelings that I think we often have is that a lot of things are placed in the district without our knowledge, without our comment, and I think it's important that those conversations, we be included in those conversations. on a go-forward basis, not just with DHS, but with all agencies. The district manager already spoke with respect to the City Bike deployments. So we do ask, and with City Bike and with all other issues in the district, please make sure that you are utilizing 311 to lodge your complaints and concerns. And the additional step we always ask is please make sure you let the district office know as well. So this way we can track these things, we can follow up, we can advocate as necessary, and we can see where these things turn from a matter of service complaints to policy questions. So again, I please ask for anyone who has a deployment or has seen one that's problematic, to please make sure that they're getting that, relaying that information back to the district office. I think it's been mentioned, so we're already looking at a number of potential land use proposals that are going to be coming up. We already have a subcommittee that's been working with respect to the City of Yes text amendments. 975 Nostrand Avenue is going to have a ULURP component with respect to fresh. There's a fresh application where they're asking for additional space because there is a supermarket that is going to be coming back, but there are other implications with that. So that is going to be a conversation. And potentially, there will be other conversations with in respect to developments in the district, including potentially 962 to 972 Franklin Avenue. So those are conversations that potentially may be coming up. We are still gathering information, and we will be working with chairs as we go forward as well to make sure that this board, this district is involved in any conversations. So that way we can make sure that the community has input and say so. It was mentioned before with respect to the community fair. It was an event that we had last year. I think it was phenomenal. I think it was really a great way for us to get back together in person as a community, to see each other and to be able to build bonds. And we want to do that again this year, bigger and better. So we are beginning the process. That's going to be coordinated through the district office. We are going to be identifying locations and dates. All I would just say is if you have recommendations or if you have resources you might be able to bring to bear, please make sure you're sharing that through our respective committees or with the district office. So that way we can make sure we're bringing these things together. So that way we can have an event that the community can really enjoy. To answer a question with respect to the treasurer's position, again, it's going to be sad to see Christian go. And his leaving on to do bigger and better things is going to leave a vacancy on the board. That actual question is addressed by our current bylaws. So our bylaws refer that there is a follow-up election that would happen in terms of we need to constitute a nominations committee. The nominations committee would then canvass the board to identify potential candidates, and then we would have an actual election. So this is a process that is going to be starting I guess towards the end of March, we'll be getting that process. There are multiple steps that are involved, but we're going to be making sure that we're following our bylaws and adhering to those and moving along to try and elect a treasurer. But there'll be more additional information as we go along, and definitely by next month's meeting. Those are all the points I have for this evening. At this time, I will entertain questions from the board. Please use the raise hand function. We're going to create a speakers list. All right, Warren, I do see you. We'll take you first. Ms. Moses, I see you as well.
And Suki.
Okay, I see Suki. Who else?
Then Felice.
I see Ms. Robertson. Are there any other questions? I call for a second time. Are there any other questions for the chair? Okay, with that, we're going to close on Ms. Robertson. She will be the last question. Warren, go ahead, you have the floor.
Hi, it's Warren. I just wanted to offer some perspective on DHS. Probably 5 or 6 years ago, we had a church on Rogers, and I'm not quite sure, but Crown, whatever. The church sold its rights to a developer. As far as the community board was informed that it was going to be apartments, blah, 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 blah. And then at the last minute, we were informed that it was a DHS shelter. So experientially, this is how DHS operates. And I do not know how much time we should spend, on the current thing. It seems that when they do it, and we really don't have any input. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Moses.
Oh, okay. This is a question about, I don't know how many members are on the board. So when you say we have a quorum, I think we started out with 40 something people. Now I thought she said we had 38. So I don't even know. So if we're on the board, we need to know how many people on the board? I mean, how do we know we have a quorum? I think she said now 38. And before I thought we had 40 some odd people. So what happened to the people? And normally if they resign or whatever is brought to the entire board. So I'm not really understanding how many people are on this board.
Right, so we have had a number of resignations that have happened. Just out of respect, just in terms of, I'm not sure if it's something that they want to make public or if there's circumstances that they want to be public, but we have received those, but count is accurate when we are down to 38 at this.
No, but what I'm saying is we don't need to know. I mean, I don't need to know why, but the point, I think, if we are the board and we vote as a board, we need to know that so-and-so resigned. Because if if anything else happened, the board would have to vote on it. So I just need, well, I'm not saying I think we need to know when it goes down by one, so-and-so resigned. And now we have X, Y, and Z. Because you can't say you have a quorum when you don't even know what the quorum is.
Okay, noted, point taken.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Chung.
Yes, so I just wanted to say with respect to the City of Yes zoning subcommittee, you mentioned there were items that would be coming up for ULURP. And the Department of City Planning has indicated that this April, the zoning for zero carbon amendments will be up for ULURP, which means that all of you will be voting on them in a couple of months. So if you are interested in issues related to green technology, whether it's solar panels or battery storage or electric vehicle chargers, bioswales, all these kinds of things, please come to the meeting. Our next meeting is March 7th, next week at 7 p.m. It's up on the website now. And these are issues that affect homeowners, if you want property owners, if you want to make changes, but also tenants. There have been some cases where tenants in Williamsburg had a lot of concerns about huge batteries that were being placed on their roofs. So changes are being made to the rules. Some of them are needed, but what changes are they going to be? What will they look like? How will it affect you? If you want to know, come to the meeting and let city planning know your opinion before these changes go forward. All right, March 7th, 7 p.m. Oh, and also, especially, I know that Teresa, it looks like you brought up in your committee, the Environment Committee, that you guys wanted to participate in this. So I'm definitely inviting all of you, Chair Timothy, if your committee can collaborate with us on this, we would very much appreciate that. Likewise, there are other parts of these zoning text amendments. They're huge, they're sweeping. Some of them deal with housing, some of them deal with economic development. So we'd like to collaborate with those committees on those parts of that as well. So please come to our meetings. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Robertson, you got a question?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on what CP has said previously regarding the 5G. So I don't know if anyone is aware or took notice that on Bedford and Empire, there is a 5G standing right there. I don't know what we can do about that now, but it is there. So I asked the question, what do we do?
Well, no, I mean, the 5G is definitely a question. We've had people who've come and represented. So at this time, this is a conversation that I think is probably appropriate for environmental protection. And I'll have that conversation with the chair, or if there's any other chairs who think it might be under their purview. But yeah, I think it's appropriate for it to go to the committee for an actual recommendation from the board in terms of how to proceed.
Yes. Okay,
But
thank you.
Those are the next steps. Thank you. Okay, all right. We are going to move on at this time now. Okay, pardon me, let me just get myself situated here. All right, we are now going on in the agenda to, here we go, thank you. Too much paper. Okay, we are now to our voting session. So we have a number of items that we need to consider this evening. We had revised our agenda, so we are going to consider the youth services proposal for a job and internship fair. At this time, Sol, are you here?
I'm here.
All right, if you could just give a very brief overview with respect to your proposal.
Yes. So our proposal is to have a youth and internship fair to provide adolescents in our community the opportunity to obtain jobs and internships, especially for the summer. There will be a partnership with DYCD to target organizations offering these services to youth. And we will also have the objective of the event is to provide youth with earning potential and job readiness training, enabling them the ability to be self-sufficient, productive members in society. And we will just basically wanting to do that. I have also spoken or informed and let the commissioner of DYCD know and some of his deputies know that we're possibly working to do this event and working to collaborate to figure out how we can get organizations offering jobs and internships in the community to come and vendor and provide the information for our youth. And the cost is that we turned in was for $2,500. And also the commissioner will be speaking at our next meeting on March, which is next Tuesday, March 7th, the commissioner of DYCD. So we'll also talk to him and get some confirmation on that there. So I just wanted to try to keep it short and sweet. It would be for Saturday, April 1st, Dr. Robert McNair Park between Classen and Washington from 12 to 4 p.m. And I guess that would be all I would have to say for now.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so just some additional information. So with respect to that, the proposal was brought to the executive committee. The recommendation of the committee was to approve the event subject to budget availability. So the proposed budget was for $2,500. The district manager and the treasurer have worked and identified certain funds that can come from the board office. And we will be continuing work in terms of identifying additional sources to fund the event. But at the very least, what we wanted to do at this stage was authorize the event so we can do it and we can continue to work to try and make sure that it's successful and funded for the proposed date by the chair. Before we continue on though, I just want to make sure and confirm that we have a quorum. Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll very quickly?
Right, one more time. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Kyrie Allen.
Present.
Nicholas Almanar.
Present.
Stuart Balberg. Fred Baptiste.
Present.
Fred Baptiste. Okay. Naomi Baptiste. John Beckles Jr.
Present.
Rabbi Yaakov Berman. Warren Burke.
Here.
Augustine Blackwell.
Here.
Celeste Chase.
Present.
Suki Chang.
Present.
Sokiri.
Present.
Jimmy Esteen. Tessa Hackett Vieira. Bishop Gonzalez.
Present.
Primo Lozano.
Present.
Francisco Leopold. Maynel Legute. Michael Leiberg. Matthias Lindberger. Courtney Luisel.
Present.
Thank you. Christian Lubo.
I'm here.
Letrin Mavina.
Present.
Erin Mazursky. Erin Mazursky.
She's absent, excused.
Okay. Oh yeah, excuse. I thought I heard movement. Miss Patricia Moses.
Here.
Beverly Newsom.
Here.
Yankee Pearson. Ted Percati. Milfred Pruitt.
Here.
Yunella Ron Perry.
Present.
Dexter Roberts. Felice Robertson.
Present.
Rashida Sadiq.
Here.
I'm sorry,
Just Watson Lord.
Did she get cut off?
I was just gonna ask.
Still unmuted. Ms. Watson Lord.
How many people are on the board now? We should really have a list.
The secretary has a list, 38.
Do we have a number to contact her?
I'm not sure. Dante, is she still on the call or I can't see her?
Yeah, still logged in. I'm gonna try to work on the back end to give her a call. Give me a second.
Okay. Okay, while we confirm that, I believe we still have the quorum. Let's finish this piece of business, at least until we get to the voting portion, and secretary can confirm the count for you shortly. Okay, so yes, so the recommendation was from the exec to approve for the event, subject to budget availability. So in other words, we would continue with the planning of the event and trying to identify funds for it with the parameters that were recommended by the committee. Okay, so that was the recommendation of the committee. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the recommendation to approve the event, subject to budget availability.
I'd like to comment, please.
Sure, but we have to put the motion on the floor first.
Okay.
All right. I call for a second time. Is there a motion to adopt that recommendation?
So maybe.
I'm just sorry, my computer just went dead, so I just had to log back in.
No worries.
Okay.
The United States total student debt has been rising.
All right, so hold on. So Ms. Watson,
Yes.
what was your count?
Wait, hold on, I didn't finish.
Oh, okay.
Debbie Timothy.
Present.
Thank you. Linda, myself, Teresa Westerdahl,
Present.
and Lorianne Mosley. Okay, hold on.
Nicola wants to read in favor for the job fair and internship fair.
26. 26 present.
26 present, we have a quorum. Okay, all right. I'm sorry, so I will call again. So do I have a motion to adopt the recommendation to approve the event subject to budget availability?
So made.
I hear
So
a move by
moved.
Warren Burke. Oh,
Second.
I have a second by Nicholas Almore. It's been moved and seconded. We will have unreadiness. Ms. Westerdahl, I see your hand up. Are there any other questions with respect to the motion? Please use the raise hands function. We will create the speakers list. Oh, sorry, 1 second. We'll take you. So Ms. Westerdahl, I see you. Chris, we see you right after that. Anyone else have a question with regards to the motion?
Mr. Pruitt, add Mr. Pruitt.
Mr. Pruitt, I'll see you right after Chris. Are there any other questions? Regarding the motion? Suki, I see you after that. Okay, are there any other questions? Call for a second time. Any other questions? All right, and then we are going to close on Suki. So I have Ms. Westerdahl, Mr. LeBeau, Mr. Pruitt, and Ms. Jung. Ms. Westerdahl, you have the floor.
Yeah, just as someone who's worked to plan events on behalf of this committee in the past, I just want to share a little experience with you. And I have every intention of sending my child to this event. The date, April 1st, it's like a month away. And I think for parks, you're supposed to have, I believe, 60 days. So an April 1st could be a bad weather day. So I'd like to suggest if there's an indoor place alternate, you could do it. And while McCarran Park is beautiful and it's nice, it's on the edge of our district. And when I've considered events in the past, I would always hope for something more central in our district so we are able to reach more people, because I think more youth would come if the event were closer to where they lived and they didn't have to go so far to the outskirts of the district, and you might be able to reach more people that would need the services. And I wish you good luck, and I'll support you as much as I can, but I just wanted to offer that information from my past experiences.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Westerdahl. Mr. LeBeau.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Give me just a second here. But yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. My question for Sol is, Sol, I know that your nonprofit does work very similar to what the committee is proposing to put on in terms of an event. And I'm curious if there would be any affiliation between your nonprofit and the event that your committee would like to hold.
The only thing I would do is like maybe have like interns helping with the event, but other than that, that would be it. There would be no like financial gain or anything like that involved with it, but some of them were planning to volunteer for the day.
Yeah, okay, I appreciate that. I think just for perception purposes, and I welcome thoughts from others on the group, but I think for perception, outside perception, if this goes through, I think it would be best to completely separate it, even not having interns volunteer at the event, just so that there's no perceived conflict of interest. Of course, anyone can show up and attend the event, but I think just to make things clear, separation between the two, it might be helpful to not have the interns volunteer. That's just my suggestion though, and I welcome thoughts from other people on the call.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pruitt.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to Christian's question because that's kind of what I was thinking too, but only from a different angle. And that is exactly who is going to be doing the recruiting and the interviewing. Yeah, I know the I forget the sponsor's name, but she made reference to her institution could do it, and Christian rightly pointed out the mixed purposes that might present in some people's minds. But as we speak tonight, who would be doing the interviewing and the solicitation, and who and where would the students or the young people come from who are going to be involved? I mean, we could be overwhelmed with too many bodies, correct?
Well, the entity that I mentioned was DYCD, which is Department of Youth and Community Development. They are the people the entity that funds a lot of the youth programs within the city. So reaching out to them to have organizations that are funded by them to participate with this and invite their young people to this event would be how
Oh,
we
I
would
see. I
support
see.
with recruitment. So I wasn't saying anything about my organization doing that. I mentioned DYCD.
Oh, I see. I see. All right. Okay.
All right, Suki, Ms. John?
Thank you, Sol, for organizing this. I know it's always a tremendous amount of work to do these kinds of events. I wanted to make a pitch for you in working with DYCD, not to forget about organizations that introduce young people to green tech jobs. I actually mentioned this in my subcommittee meeting. There are going to need to be lots and lots of people to do all the installing of new electric heat pumps, solar panels, electric vehicle chargers, all these kinds of things. And if we don't have a big enough workforce to do this, and these are well-paying jobs, any attempt to have a green New Deal is going to fail. So please consider bringing those kinds of organizations on to introduce young people to these careers. Thanks.
That sounds great. And what I would like to do is also welcome all of you, so that if you know particular organizations that do these things, you could reach out and, send us a message and let us know as we're, trying to reach out to different organizations, so that then those types of people would be invited and be aware of it.
If I find anything, I'll email you afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we've exhausted the speakers list. Okay, Ms. Moses, late flag. Ms. Moses, we'll see you.
Ms. Moses, please.
Okay, real quick. I just wanted to let people know, we do volunteers. That's what we're all about. We are volunteers. So when a person gives something through the community board, we do reach out, and there are volunteers. There's people that will even come and help with soliciting jobs for young people. So yes, our whole group is volunteers. So I don't know we're not paying anybody. So to me, it would be no conflict with the community board. Thank you.
Would this be a one-day affair?
Yes.
Correct. Okay, and with that, we've exhausted the speakers list. So we are going to call the question. Let me ask this. Is there any objection to common consent? Is there any objection to common consent? I call a second time. Okay, hearing none. Madam Secretary, please record that the Community Board 9 adopted the motion by common consent. Please put a vote in. Okay, all right. We're going to try on. So now, members of the board, we're going to try and move very quickly on these next few items, okay? I need you to please hang in there. We're going to get through these as quickly as possible. Okay, so we are now going to move on to the public safety item, the 2 SLA applications for iRevive and Smorgasburg. Primo, you there?
Yes, sorry. All right. Should I rehash the applications and run through them again?
Very brief. Yeah, very brief.
I'll be very brief. I'll be very brief. We've all heard this already, but Smorgasburg is a seasonal application. It's wine and beer. It's 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. They bring business into the community, and there have been no NYPD complaints. Our other applicant, iRevives, has been working in the community for a long time. Health food restaurant that is looking to expand its license to again, wine and beer. This one is a new license, and their hours are available in the morning from when the business opens at 9 a.m. and going through 8 p.m. They submitted a revised application. The first application they submitted was till 1 a.m., but they are not looking to utilize that much actual time. And we did not have a quorum, unfortunately, in our meeting, so we brought it to the executive committee, and we are recommending both applications for adoption.
Okay, so as stated by the public safety chair, the recommendations were brought to the exec. The exec approved to come to the board and be considered. I think we've heard from both of them. I think they were both very strong applicants, good size, good organizations in the community. At this time, let's try this. Is there any objection to us considering both applications and voting on them at the same time? Okay, sounds good so far. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve both applications in a single resolution. Do we have that motion?
Yes,
I'll
motion.
make that motion.
So moved.
Okay, I heard moved by Sol. Was that you? I heard Sol. And do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pruitt. It's been moved and seconded that we approve both of those applications in a single resolution. Are there any questions?
President Trump's election conspiracy is just a few days after the 2020.
Everybody got their TV on.
Are there any questions? Taking the speakers list. Are there any questions with regards to the approval of the applications? Okay, hearing none, we are going to call the question. Are there any objections to common consent? Is there anyone who wants to vote, wishes to vote no separately? Okay, hearing none. Madam Secretary, please record that CB9 adopted the resolution to approve both applications by common consent. Okay, thank you very much, Madam Secretary.
Everybody, thank you, Fred, for moving it that quickly. Appreciate you.
Okay, we are now going to go to the next item from Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, letter of support for the Vail restoration. Mr. Almanor, do you have any commentary you wish to give on that application?
No, actually, this has been voted by the committee after revision of the original proposal and quickly approved. It was approved with only one no vote. So we want the whole board to approve the Vail restoration as presented by the Prospect Park Alliance. A PDF of the presentation have been sent to all the board members for their review. So at this time, I will move that we approve. I'll make a motion to approve a letter of support for the Vail restoration. As a matter of fact, I think they're asking us to come and do some presentation when it comes in front of the planning commission. So I think that's what they need the letter for.
Okay, all right, so it's been moved by Mr. Almanor to adopt the letter of support, to provide a letter of support for the Vail restoration for the Prospect Park Alliance. Is there a second?
Second.
I hear a second by Sol Creary. So it's been moved and seconded. We will take questions. Ms. Westerdahl, we're going to create the speakers list. Ms. Westerdahl, I see you. Ms. Chong, I see you. Are there any other questions with regards to the motion on the floor? I see Ms. Westerdahl, I see Ms. Chong, and hearing no others, we are going to close on Ms. Chiang. Ms. Westerdahl, you have the floor.
Yeah, hi. I went to the executive board meeting and I heard about this letter, and I asked that we be sent the new updated written proposal from the Prospect Park Alliance, and I didn't see that. And I went today, there was a hearing for the New York Historical Society held a hearing about the Prospect Park, the project. And I went to that, I attended that. It was quite long. And there is an upper veil, there's a lower veil. And it was quite controversial, this project, especially in regards to the structure. And there were several groups that were against the structure. Like, it was extensive. City agencies, groups. So I would highly recommend that everybody on the board dig a little bit deeper into this and become more informed about what's actually happening with the project in the Vale. And there was I believe there was a member who was opposed at the parks meeting, and I think everybody should examine why there's opposition to that and what exactly is happening there, because it's not, I don't think we should just give approval to this without really understanding what's happening there. There's a lot more to it than, I read the letter and I'm like, I don't know. I want to know some more information. So that's why I went to that meeting today. And I wasn't able to even attend the whole thing because it was more than a couple of hours long. And
What is the objection from the resistors?
They're putting in quite a large architectural change, building, bathroom. There's 2 structures that are going up and there's seating, and some people think it's going to result in an event space. Some people think that it's not architecturally contextual to what it should be, in a historic site. There's a lot of reasons. It's not really simple. It's pretty complicated issue and what's happening. And I feel that we're doing our disservice to the community and the park by just approving this without some more research. I mean, just what I'm telling you is very simple. And then there's quite a bit to it. And I think everybody should do some more research and actually look at the plan, look at the design. And they didn't really change it that much from what they originally proposed. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what many other people today said had similar concerns. And it's going to go before a different commission soon. So I think everybody should look at it deeper before we vote on this letter.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Westerdahl. Suki, we see you.
So similar to Teresa, I had attended a community engagement session held by Prospect Park, actually. It might have been like a year or 2 ago now. And the comments were almost unanimously opposed to some of the buildings that were going up in the park. And I looked at the most recent presentation, and it did seem to me like they had tried to be responsive to the complaints, and the remaining structures were basically like bathrooms and a kind of terrace type thing. So I'm kind of disturbed to hear Teresa saying that there's still significant opposition to the plans. And I would agree with her that maybe they do need to come before the whole board and we need to look at this more closely. But I think even more concerning to me, Nicholas, I'm wondering whether you asked them. This is a very large amount of money. It's $40 million. And although I'm getting a better sense that this isn't just for the Vale, that there are other projects that have been part of this as well, I'm wondering whether you asked Prospect Park for an itemization of how much each thing cost, how much is the Vale portion expected to cost, how is this being bid out, right? Like, what's the bidding process for this? And if, I don't think we're opposed to the idea of Prospect Park getting this money, but let's say they get this money and they don't use up all of it on the Vale, will money be available for other projects in Prospect Park? Because every year we come up with something, some renewal project that we need, and we have to submit it to participatory budgeting. And it seems like there's never enough money for all the things we want to do. So I'd really like to get a better sense of the budget here. How much each thing is going to cost. Are we getting our money's worth out of it? If there are things that people don't want, why are we spending money on them? I think we need to ask those questions.
Okay.
The finance in terms of the money?
Yeah. Did they give you any?
Let me say the following. This is the money that was given to the Alliance by the de Blasio administration. So that money was solely for the Vale. This is the prior money that was already allocated and approved by the city to change the Vale. In terms of the itemization, I don't disagree with that. If any is left over, maybe something we have to engage them. If they don't use all the money, what it can be used for. But in terms of the money to do, so they are working within the amount of money that was given to them from the prior city administration.
Okay, yeah, I mean, if we can find out, like, were there really particular strings attached, or right?
That may be beyond the scope of what the board is actually weighing in on. I think the board is asked in terms of the project itself, if there are major objections to the project, the scope, the design, those elements, that's what we would vote on, yes or no. The financial aspects of those would actually be managed by other city agencies tasked with that. So the controller's office.
But it's ultimately our money. It's public money.
Understood. Yeah, it is. And what I'm saying is that the watchdogs are already in place in terms of financially, there are only certain ways the money can be spent, and those have to be accounted for separately.
Okay, but the thing is, like, we're all adults. We have budgets. We don't just go shopping with a wish list. We go shopping with a wish list and a budget. So maybe
understood. And what I'm saying is, but that's the part of the process that was done prior between Prospect Park Alliance and the city in terms of getting the grant. Now, the actual expenditures will be monitored by the city from that standpoint. But the only point I'm making is that that's beyond the scope of what the board is tasked to do at this time, in terms of if we're for the project or we don't feel that it's worthy, or there's some other issue where we can't approve the project. That's
to me, 40 million sounds like a lot for a single project.
Duly noted. Duly noted. All right. Okay. We've got to get better with this. When we call last call is last call. Christian, because it's your last one, we'll let you get that one in, and Courtenay, we'll let you get one in as well. Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry about that, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to this quickly. I appreciate folks' concern of wanting to make sure the money is well spent, because it is our money. It's money that is coming from taxpayers. But that being said, $40 million is a drop in the bucket for Prospect Park. They're undergoing a $500 million fundraising campaign right now. $40 million is, comparatively speaking, not that much. And what it's going to do is make an investment in the park on our side of the park. For the longest time, we talked about, Prospect Park is only investing on the park slope side. They're only putting in money and resources in the park slope side. This is a major investment on our side. And the documents that the district office sent forth prior to this meeting show the robust community engagement work that Prospect Park Alliance did over the last year. Hundreds of opportunities to engage with Prospect Park. I think that at this point, we can be most helpful and a better partner to them by expressing our support for this project and giving them the bit of encouragement that they need from our side to continue to move forward. My only caveat would be that I think that this letter should come from the executive board rather than the district office. And that's it. I'll end it there. Thank you.
Okay, member Loisel, and we close on her.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. I would sign on to what Christian said and also add that the Prospect Park Alliance presented the changes to us, and I believe it was our January meeting in the committee. And there was really widespread support within the committee, and also individuals expressed that the Prospect Park Alliance in the design of the Vail had really taken into consideration all the public comment that had been shared and the criticisms that had previously been shared, and they had been incorporated into the plan, and it was really appreciated by the committee. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that. Okay, all right, we've reached the end of the speakers list. We are going to call the question. Madam Speaker, if you could please call the roll. Madam Speaker, Madam Secretary.
All right. Or number in favor? Oh. Okay. Kyrie Allen. Kyrie Allen. Nicholas Almanar.
In favor.
Fred Baptiste.
In favor.
John Beckles Jr.
In favor.
Warren Burke.
Yes.
Augustine Blackwell.
Yes.
Celeste Chase.
Abstain.
Suki Chang.
Abstain.
Saul Carey.
4.
So unmute yourself.
Sol said in favor, I believe, but
She said 4, yeah, she's 4.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bishop Gonzalez.
Yes.
Primo Lozano.
in favor.
Maya Legote. Courtney.
I'm in favor.
Christian Lubo.
In favor. In favor. Thank you.
Sorry, Letwin's not here. Letwin?
I'm here.
Letwin, you're here.
Yes, I am.
And my apologies, my phone died, and it's Kyrie Aline. I'm present still. I was here the whole time, but
You're in favor? Yes or no?
I don't know. What are we voting on?
Okay, let's come back to Kyrie.
Oh,
We'll come back to Kyrie.
Okay, sorry.
We'll
Thank you.
We'll come back.
Right.
Letwin was in favor.
Yeah, I got you, Letwin. Patricia Moses.
Yes.
Beverly Newsom.
No.
Belford Pewitt.
Yes.
Unetta Ron Perry.
Yes.
Felice Robertson.
Yes.
Rashida Sadiq.
Yes, in favor.
Thank you. Debbie Timothy.
Yes.
Linda Watson Lord, yes. Miss Teresa Westerdahl. Miss Westerdahl.
No.
Thank you. Okay, 1 minute, sir.
Are there any members who did not hear that? Well, actually, I'm sorry, Kyrie. We need to get your vote.
Yes.
So the motion, the motion on the floor is to approve the letter of support for the the Vale restoration for the Prospect Park Alliance. Are you in favor or are you in opposition? Or do you abstain?
I'll abstain.
Okay.
Okay, hold 1 minute, I'll tell you.
I'm sorry, before you go, are there any other members who did not hear their name called? Any members who did not hear their name called? Okay, sorry, go ahead, Madam Secretary.
Thank you again.
Final vote, 18 yeses, 2 noes, 3 abstention.
Okay, I hear 18 yeses, 2 noes, 3 abstentions. Motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we have 2 items left. I ask for the board's indulgence, less than 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes. We will dispose of the business for the day. All right, so the next item is for the base license renewal for Union Limo and Car Service. They presented before the Transportation Committee at this month's meeting. The Transportation Committee voted unanimously to approve their renewal application. It was brought to the Executive Committee, which approved it to be brought to the board. You heard from the applicant earlier. They've been in the community for about 32 years. The board has no reported violations with the TLC or any other agencies that we could identify. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the application for the base license renewal.
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I have it moved by Mr. Pruitt. Do I have a second? Sorry, do I have a second?
I second.
Oh, I got Ms. Moses with a second. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? I call for a second time. Are there any questions? Okay, we're going to call the question. Are there any objections to adoption by unanimous consent? Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, Madam Secretary, please record the vote as the motion is adopted to approve by unanimous consent of the board.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, this moves us to item 7, unfinished business, consideration of proposed bylaws amendments. Given the time, at this time, I will entertain a motion for us to table till the next meeting.
So made.
I have it moved to table by Warren Burke. Do I have a second?
Second, Yanela Perry.
Second by Unella Rome Perry. Any questions?
Yeah, what became of that alligator?
He needs your help, sir. He needs help. He needs help.
Is he alive? I mean,
Are we ready to adjourn?
Where did he come from? Where did he come from?
Yeah, he's alive. He was someone's pet and they put him in there.
He's
I
still
don't know
alive,
why
but he's
that was
sick.
very cruel.
He's
But
still
he's
alive, but
alive.
he's sick. But we need to get back to this question, so we can go back into new business for the
sorry.
alligator.
Go
Are
see
there
him at the Bronx Zoo.
are there any questions with regards to the motion to table? Okay, hearing none. Are there any objections to the motion to table?
What are we
Are there any objections?
tabling? What are we tabling? I don't
This is what would be item
Come on,
number 8.
Teresa.
Order of the day, order of the day. The motion on the floor is to table item, we renumbered it 8, the consideration of the proposed bylaws amendments. So given the time, we're not going to touch that today. That'll get tabled till next month.
Okay, thank you for that clarity.
Okay.
Welcome.
Is there any objection to the motion to table? I'm sorry, is there any objection to common consent to the motion to table? Any objection? Okay, hearing none, Madam Secretary, please note for the record, by common consent, we table item number 8 until next month.
So noted.
Okay. Is there any other new business? And please, we need to make it very short. We can consider it or at least see if we do need to refer it. Is there any new business to be considered by the board? Okay, hearing none. In closing, I just want to say thank you to everyone this month for your attention. This was a very, very dense agenda. I want to thank everyone for sticking it out, for making sure we got the business done. This is why we're here. And this, I'm thankful to everyone for hanging in there and getting it done. You know, we have items that we're definitely going to continue to work on in the board office in terms of the board and our operations to get better, to make sure we're smoother, to make sure we are are able to take on the business that we have to. I ask everyone to stay strong. We've got a very busy couple of months coming up, but this board can do it. It has shown it has the ability and the capacity and the talent to do it. In closing, I also want to thank again those members of the board who are leaving. I want to thank our treasurer, Christian Lebeau, for your dedicated and faithful service. Again, I'm not going to say it like you're moving out of the district. You're still going to be around. We wish you good luck in everything you do. And we thank you for your time here at Community Board 9. And with that being said, at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I have it
Louise
moved.
Robertson adjourned.
I have it moved, seconded, thirded. Any ejection?
No, let's go.
None.
Okay.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Stand
Congrats,
adjourned.
Christian.
Madam Secretary, time is 10:02.
I was unhappy with the alligator answer.
All right, take care. Thank you.
No, the alligator is
Good night,
alive. He's alive.
Good night, everyone.
He's alive. The alligator's still there, sir.